Okay, so we're diving deep today, and well, we're going way back. You sent over the script from, I think it was called 12 a.m., right?
Yeah, 12 a.m. podcast.
Yeah, 12 a.m. podcast. And it's all about, well, the history of Islam in America, which, I thought I had a decent grasp on, but this script, it really kind of blew some assumptions I had out of the water.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's easy to kind of just think of Islam in America as a pretty, recent thing. But this script it really highlights just how deep those roots go and honestly, how far back they go.
Yeah, way, way back. And it's not the story, at least not initially, the story that I think a lot of us might expect. It doesn't start with, immigration like we see with so many other faiths.
It's actually kind of it's a tough part of American history to talk about, but it starts with the transatlantic slave trade,
Yeah.
16th, 17th centuries.
And what's really important to remember is that, a huge portion of the enslaved Africans who were brought over, they were Muslims.
Really? Like, what kind of numbers are we talking? Some historians estimate like 10 to 30%. I mean, we're talking about West Africa, which had
Yeah.
this rich and long Islamic history.
Wow.
So Islam was present in America, practically from the beginning, even though it was under, well, horrific circumstances.
Yeah. It's hard to even imagine, enduring that kind of brutality and loss of freedom, and then on top of it, trying to hold on to your faith.
Yeah, and they did. I mean, the script really gets into how hard it was for them to practice under slavery. There were systematic efforts to just erase their culture, their religion, everything.
It's a part of American history that, well, it's not really talked about enough, is it?
Yeah, nearly enough.
Yeah.
And I think it just adds this whole other layer of complexity, this layer of, well, tragedy, really, to that period.
Yeah. And then we jump ahead a couple of centuries, and the script starts talking about this new wave of Muslim presence, late 19th, early 20th centuries.
This is when we start seeing more voluntary immigration.
Yeah.
People coming from the Ottoman Empire, Syria, Lebanon, India, places like that.
Yeah, and a lot of them, if I remember correctly, they ended up in those big industrial cities, right?
Absolutely, like Detroit, Chicago, places that were really booming at the time. They were building communities, building lives. I mean, it was more than just individuals arriving.
And that's when we start to see, like, actual mosques being built, right? I mean, I remember reading about, like, the Mother Mosque of America that was in Iowa.
Exactly, and that's a perfect example because it shows just how early these communities were putting down roots. It wasn't just about finding a place to live. It was about creating a space for their faith, for their culture to thrive.
These places became like community centers, right? Not just for prayer, but for like, cultural exchange and just like supporting each other.
Exactly. Imagine coming to this brand new country, everything's different, and then finding this place, this mosque, where you can connect with people who share your faith, your traditions. That's powerful.
Yeah, definitely. And then, of course, the 20th century brings a whole other set of changes, particularly within the African American community. The script talks about the Nation of Islam.
Right, starting in the 1930s.
Mm.
And that was huge. It gave a sense of identity, a sense of spiritual belonging to so many African Americans, especially during, an incredibly difficult time in our history.
Yeah, Jim Crow.
Yeah.
And then you have figures like Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali.
And they brought even more visibility to Islam.
The script really focused on like Malcolm X's journey, his pilgrimage to Mecca, his Hajj. It sounds like that was a turning point, not just for him, but for like how a lot of people saw Islam.
Yeah, his embrace of Sunni Islam after that, it was really influential. It kind of opened this door to a broader understanding of Islam.
Yeah, it's amazing how, one person's story can have such a ripple effect. So, I mean, here we are today, and the script makes it clear Islam is like one of the fastest growing religions in the U.S.
And so diverse. It's not just one group. It's a reflection of, the global nature of Islam.
Right. It's American Muslims contributing to every part of society, you name it. Politics, sports, business, academia, everything. So, taking a step back from all this, I mean, it's clear Islam in America, it's not a new story, not by a long shot. It's interwoven with like the very fabric of our country's history, the good, the bad, the really, really complex.
It's a story of resilience, adaptation, and ultimately, I think, contribution. And it makes you wonder, what if we all knew more of this history? Would it change the conversations we're having about religion, about American identity?
It's definitely something to think about, and it makes you wonder, what other hidden histories are out there just waiting to be uncovered, waiting to add their threads to this incredible tapestry of American life.
Exactly. Who knows what other surprises are waiting for us if we just dig a little deeper?
Yeah.